One of the first labs I worked in, I had a German boss. I'll never forget the way he would skip over wide swaths of detail saying, and blah, blah. That's right, only two blahs. So I asked a coworker why Dr. Bossman would only say two blahs, and he replied, because it's more efficient. So ever since then I've thought of Germans as very efficient. Honestly, that's both the most and least German thing ever. Yes! It's alright, I've been there a lot. I'm from Switzerland, so a lot of field trips were to Germany when I was in school. I'm confused by not Swiss German. But otherwise it's cool. Well, Switzerland is basically the premium ad-free version of Germany. Yes!
I've been exposed to ich_EL. Sprich Deutsch, du Hurensohn.
Yes! When I visited Berlin, I was surprised they used the honor system for transit. You can walk into the U-Bahn without having to go through a barrier. There are controls in the tram. Don't forget that it's like that in every city as far as I know, but there are definitely undercover transit police which will ask to see your tickets. In the 6 months I've been in Munich, I've been asked 4 times. Lived there for a few months. It's honor system till it isn't. They have plainclothes ticket checkers that ambush trains. I'm German, and the first picture that jumped into my mind was a guy going around with a sword and knightly accolade them if they have a ticket. That, as most European countries, honestly. It has nothing to do with honor. It's just more efficient to let people enter freely, instead of creating artificial choke points at every stop. And have ticket controllers inspect and penalize them at random checks. That has absolutely nothing to do with honor, believe me. Honestly, I'd rather have machines. Yes! Y'all, MFER's got a no-speed limit highway. It's both intriguing and scary. Good on you, Germany. If I pay for the whole speedometer, I'm gonna use the whole speedometer. You know it's scary when a Porsche drives with 300 kilometers per hour next to roadwork. It's hilarious when you are going 220 kilometers per hour on the Autobahn and you have to pull over to the middle lane because someone is coming from behind with who knows how many kilometers per hour. The speed limit is the Second Amendment of Germany. Everybody knows it's dangerous and useless, but it's fun and gives identity, so if you want to change it, people will go on the barricades. They were harsh on my country in Brazil in the World Cup. Funny, I was living in Colombia at the time. Many Colombians felt that Brazil had kind of cheated in their win over Colombia and took great delight in Germany beating Brazil 7-1. Never forget, we beat them good. I remember watching that game in a small gay bar in Berlin with a good friend. Before the game, the owner joked we could get a free shot of our choice for every goal Germany scores. We shook hands on it. He was pretty sad. 90 minutes later. Username doesn't check out. Edit. Jesus Christ, I got it. The Germans beat the Saudis 8-0. Chill the fuck down, Redditors. Even the players looked like they felt bad at the end. Though Germany did terribly in the last World Cup, so that kind of makes up for it. Yes! Nice currywurst, OMG. Someone who understood the real treasure of German cuisine. Honestly, I never got into currywurst, and I even lived in Berlin some time with some iconic CW stands. But honor. Fuck currywurst. Yes! Kids are kinder. They're true. No matter how nice your kids are, German children will always be kinder here. Take this medal, sports medal, as a sign of appreciation. Kinder. Kinder chocolate. Chocolate made of. Hold up. Yes! My wife worked in Germany for 3 years at an English-speaking daycare near Weimar. Her stories have reshaped everything I think about Germany, and especially the language. Popular media makes German sound angry and harsh. When someone you love speaks German, it sounds warm and comforting. My perspective is that Germany really has its shit together. As a hobby creative writer, I appreciate your experience with the German language. It is really rare to hear something like that, and it boosts my confidence that I can actually write something in my language that will convey these feelings. I always felt that German has a great capacity for emotions, but sometimes it still feels too technical. I also for the first time in my life write in English, and I enjoy it so much. It's a totally different experience, and my style varies noticeably, not just because it is from another character's perspective. I hope to keep going with this project and further develop my English skills. Smiley face. Edit. Wow, thanks for all the upvotes and great replies. I really did not expect to meet so many German lovers. I sincerely enjoyed chatting with you, but am turning in now. All the best to you. Meh, we still have problems. As just the topics of the last week: lobbyism, missing respect for journalists, Nazis, conspiracy idiots, and the prices are too high to properly live, for example in Berlin. Totally agree with this. Spoken German sounds mellifluous. It's beautiful. Now Dutch. That's where the harshness is at. Popular media makes German sound angry and harsh. When someone you love speaks German, it sounds warm and comforting. Yes! 7-1 RIP. I'm not into football at all and only ever watched the World Cup, but that game would have been super awesome to watch. But sadly 11-year-old me wasn't allowed to stay up so late. At least I got to see the final. Yes! Lived there about a year. Bavaria from US. You all know how to drive. You all know how to do bike trails. You know how to do beer and wine affordably and no open container laws. Southern Germany is beautiful. You all do fresh meat and bread 100% better than the US. No open container laws. Is there anywhere in the world other than the US that has open container laws? Not everyone knows how to drive. I hate bike trails. We love our beer, and some even love wine. Southern Germany is okay. And talking about fresh meat at the moment when there is a scandal in a German slaughterhouse is kinda difficult. There were some problems, and now we have 1,500 people that were infected in one day. So, yeah, but the bread is great. That's true. Yes! As a Swede, I look at Germany kind of like our bigger cousin who has a dark past, but who has now radically bettered themselves to the point that we now look up to them as close friend and even protector. Swedish and German culture also feels very similar. We have the same strict rule-abiding and moralistic outlook rooted in a shared Lutheran inheritance, as well as both being somewhat cold and standoffish and valuing logic and efficiency over feelings and emotions. As a German, I look at Sweden as a neighbor that is pretty great. In my eyes, you are 1 part IKEA, 10 parts European unity, and the 89 parts forest. You are great, Sweden. I'm from North Germany. My family and I have visited Denmark and Sweden quite a lot, seeing as we sail. And I really enjoyed both cultures. It was also kind of similar to my own culture. In some aspects, the Swedish and Danish culture is closer to the North Germany culture than Southern Germany. They just talk too much and are way too friendly with strangers. As a Dane, I look at Sweden and Germany, and then compare the beer prices. Moin meine deutsche Curl. Yes! Doner kebab is some good shit. A German-style doner place just recently opened up downstairs of my apartment, and I have been in heaven. The best fast food in the world. Wait, you don't have doner in other countries? It's Turkish, but Turks in Germany do doner very well. Yes! They make for great bad guys in movies. Before I visited Germany, my impression of Germany was well-designed yet industrial. Most meals are sausage-based. The people are stern but fun, like an uncle offering advice over drinking. My impression after visiting was relatively unchanged, but more noodles in food than I anticipated. Ironically, the best German bad guys in movies are actually British. Alan Rickman, Jeremy Irons, Ralph Fiennes, Peter Sellers, etc. Unless it's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Yes! I admire Germany for what I've heard about their education on World War II and how they don't hide all of the atrocious things they've done in the past, unlike where I live. I don't know much else. Other than your language is a little harsh sounding, but beautiful. As far as I'm aware, Germany is like the only country to teach about the shit they did in World War II. America kind of mentions the internment camps. Japan refuses to apologize for their atrocities, including Nanking. Props to Germany for that. Edit. Yes. I know American schools teach about the internment camps. My main point was that we don't really focus on the home front when studying the history of World War II. I have been there a few times, but was there last year for Oktoberfest, and I absolutely love it for so many reasons. Bavaria is almost impossibly beautiful. I'm from Ohio, so it doesn't take too much. Clean, charming towns with nice people and small shops everywhere. Their roads make so much more sense than in the US, and I hardly speak any German. No potholes, seriously, not one, and everyone does everything they are supposed to do, so driving is easy. The portions with no speed limit or a winding road through a forest made me realize what absolute shit road laws and layouts that we have. A fun car is totally wasted here. Even in Munich, I didn't see any homeless people ranting and raving or otherwise just cast aside to fend for themselves. I'm sure it happens, but I can be accosted 50 times walking a couple miles. Coming home, we landed in Charlotte and I saw more out-of-shape people in the airport than I did the entirety of Germany. I love German food and beer anyway, but from the source? Amazing. Also, a half-liter of beer is actually cheaper than a pint of even cheap domestic beer here, let alone a craft beer, though I do love our craft beer selection compared to theirs. There's many more reasons, but I imagine this will get buried anyway. I've traveled all over the world and don't buy the whole "socialism is evil" line here. But I don't think I realized just how hard they're lying to us about it. Even then, I was like, well, the taxes though, right? Looked it up and it was pretty much the same. You know, except for the part where they get free education and healthcare. I wish more people here knew what different cultures are like. There are a lot of them that do at least a few things better than us. Winding roads definitely have a speed limit. The only thing without it is the Autobahn. Otherwise it defaults to 100 kilometers per hour out of town and 50 kilometers per hour in town. Yeah! I'm an American and I spent 3 weeks in Berlin in 2015. Overall, Germany struck me as a well-functioning society with a gritty, dark, creative, punk, and religious, artistic vibe. Maybe that was just Berlin, though. Yeah, you just described Berlin very well, but not Germany. Berlin really is something else. Yes! Deutschland, Rammstein, Beer, Immanuel Kant, Friedrich Nietzsche, Martin Heidegger, Gottlob Frege, Karl Marx, Goethe, Beethoven, Bach, Brahms, Schlieffenplan. Props for including the Schlieffenplan. Particularly if you are an American. We don't get a lot of World War I history lessons in our education. Philosophy major up there, the first two are also one and the same. Basically the entire history of Germany in one song. Yes! I worked with a guy named Yannick who was German. That was really all I knew about him. He worked for our organization. His name was Yannick, and he was German. He was an IT-type quiet guy. One day, I had a bag of pistachios that I was eating at my desk. Yannick walked by and was waiting to talk to someone else. I said hello and offered him a pistachio. He said no thanks. He didn't like pistachios. Another data point. My mind immediately began searching for a reason why Yannick wouldn't like pistachios. And I connected it to the only other thing I knew about him: he was German. We all know that Germans love efficiency, and pistachios are the most efficient snack. There's a little bit of work involved and sometimes you can't get them to open at all. Yannick, as a German, doesn't like pistachios because they are an inefficient snack. This is now something I assume about all Germans. I cannot think of a better example of a country that rose from the ashes of fascism to become a brilliant and enlightened leader on the world stage in such a short time. The German people are a light unto the world today. Danke, Liebe und Respekt aus Canada. We do have some rising problems with nationalism and fascism though. Seen by a fascist party being voted into the parliament again in 2017 and a rising right-wing extremism at it there in the parliament, not the government, sending love and respect from Germany. Envoy de l'amour et du respect de l'Allemagne.